Hi, and welcome back to Craft Along with Jay. And if you're new, welcome. My name is Yetta, and I am so happy you could join me today. Today, I have four fun shabby chic decor ideas for you. So let's go ahead and get started. For project number one, we're going to use these two birdhouses. Found these at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to paint the roof and the stand with ballet slipper. And then the house itself, we're going to use the ivory, but Waverly's chalk paint. And for the other birdhouse, we're not going to use that blue, but I am going to use Kelly green and ivory, mix it up to make like a mint color. And that's the body of the house. And then the roof and the stand is going to be ivory. So those are the colors I mixed up. And then we're going to use all kinds of embellishments here to make them look all nice and shabby. Going to be some fancy birdhouses. So I'm just showing you some of the things that we may or may not use. But there's a lot to choose from. There's a variety of good stuff here. The first thing I do, I'm picking out some rub-on transfers. I'm going to work on the mint green birdhouse first. And I'm trying to figure out which ones to use, which one would kind of go with the colors and the color scheme and stuff like that. So I picked out the ones for the pink one, and here we're going to work on the green one. And I'm going to lay this down on the roof. I'm trying to line it up so it doesn't overhang anywhere. So yeah, make sure you have your position before you start pushing it down all the way. So once I have it, I'm just pressing it in on one side, and then I'll fold it over the top and then press it in on the other side. And these rub-on transfers are really good. So once you start just pressing it in, you can pull the transfer paper off and it sticks. It's not going anywhere. I had a little bit of an overhang, so I just sanded that off real quick. And then I'm doing some smaller ones on the birdhouse itself. You just kind of have to play around with it, till you get the look that you like and how you want it to look, all nice and fancy. I'm working on both the front and the sides. I'm not too worried about the back because you're not going to be able to see it. But if you were to recreate this and you're going to put it in a place where you can see the back, then, by all means, include the back. Spruce that up as well. Once I got my rub-on transfers down, I'm going to go in with some Mod Podge just to seal it in. And I just use some antique Mod Podge right here. And then we're going to work on some of the rub-on transfers for the pink birdhouse. And we'll do the same thing, position them where we want them, and then seal them in with some Mod Podge as well. And here I'm starting with the roof, just the same way as the other one. Lay it down on one side, press it down, and then fold it over to the other side. And there was a bit more overhang here, but this one was easier to kind of fold up under the side of the roof, so I didn't really have to cut anything here. And then I'm going in with some butterflies to the front of it. And then I think I'm adding a little bit of greenery as well. And those little paper flowers from the Dollar Tree you can see right down my desk, I'm going to pick some out of those, the pink ones, and I'll add that two to each side of the birdhouse right here, just to give it a little extra um, texture to it, a little bit more of a 3D look to it from the side. And then here I'm going in with some ribbon from the Dollar Tree as well, and we're going to outline the roof and also the stand. And I'm just showing you the green one here because I am not quite sure what happened to the footage of the pink one, but the pink one I used riffraff instead, like ivory color riffraff, rig rag ribbon um, in the color ivory to outline the roof and then also the stand, but on top of the stand. This one's going to be on the side of the stand of the birdhouse. And then I also, with the pink one, I added some little wood beads from the Dollar Tree as well, and I just used little flower picks from the Dollar Tree, and I stuck some in there with some hot glue and positioned those to each corner of the house. But you'll see here in a second what that looks like. But right now we're gonna finish up the green one right here. So I'm still working on it around the edge of the roof. And you don't need a whole lot of glue, just enough to kind of hold it up. So I just lay it down and just gently press it across and cut off the excess. Then I'll do the same thing to the bottom, but the side, so not on top of the stand. And then I'll cut that off as well. Then I'm going to use some of these little pearls from the Dollar Tree as well. And I'm just going to cover the front, the stand of the birdhouse on the front and the sides. And I'm just using some hot glue to hold it down. And here I had to take one of them back off because I hadn't lined it up right and said there was no space. So, but it's hot glue, it's easy. So if you don't do it right, you can take it off and redo it. But here's my little birdhouse, and I put one little pearl on top. So here they are. Here you can see what I did to the pink one. But I think these are quite fancy. What do you think? All right, so let's move on to the stands. I'm using these candle holders from the Dollar Tree as well. And I'm going to use the same mixture to make the mint green, and then I'm also using the ballet slipper. But first I give it a coat of Mod Podge, and then I'll paint them, and I'm using a sponge so I don't have brush strokes. And then once they're dry, I'm going to add a little bow to the pink one, and I used the rickrack trim, and for the green one I used the lace ribbon from the Dollar Tree. This corresponds with the birdhouse is what I put on around the roof and the stand. And here I'm just going to use some hot glue to glue my birdhouses onto the stands, like so. And then that will be it for these two. So just have fun with it. There's so much you can do with these birdhouses. And I just love how these two turned out. Let me know what you think about these two down in the comment section down below. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to project number 2. We're going to use one of these bamboo cutting boards, the large size from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to give it a coat of Waverly's chalk paint and plaster. And once that's dry, I'm going to go ahead and use some crackle medium and give it one coat on top of the cutting board. And make sure you get all that to the edge and the corners. And then I'll let that sit and start drying till it's mostly dry. There may still be a little tackiness to it when I add the next coat of paint because I feel like that's when I get the best crackle. Um, but I think here I didn't let it dry long enough. I think there were some spots that were a little too tacky. But you'll see, it was easy to fix. And here I'm going to go in with plaster and the French blue just to lighten up the blue a little bit. And so that's what I'm working on here. Keep mixing till I have the color that I want. And then I will go ahead and add that to my cutting board. So I'm trying not to go over it too many times. And you can kind of see that little round, yeah, right there when I added some more. I kind of pulled it some, that's when it was too tacky. So, but I'm going to go in and dry it. And there's some, it's nice crackle, but there are some areas where it is too much and too wide. And I think those are the areas where it was still too wet. So I went ahead and let it dry, and then I painted it over again with some more of the blue paint and used my heat gun to dry it, and I got really nice crackle with that. So you can still add more coats once it dries and it will still crackle. And I'm very happy with this. Then we're going to go ahead and use this heart from the Dollar Tree. And I just cut the tag off and the little hanger. And eventually I will use my pliers and I'll cut the little ring off at the top because we're not going to use that. And I picked 4 different kinds of ribbons and I'm just going to cut, I think I cut 5 pieces of each. I'm not sure about the length. I just kind of eyeballed it. But I'm cutting 5 of each and we're going to make a messy bow with them. And all these ribbons are from the Dollar Tree as well. Here I get one in with a piece of lace. That's one we're going to use to tie it with. And then I go in order of how I lay them down, but not in order of how I lay them down, if that makes sense. So like I'll do purple, pink, ivory, white, and I'll keep that pattern, but just lay them down differently. So that way you're going to be able to see all the patterns and the colors once you tie it up. I had a little bit of struggle here because once I tied it, I couldn't find my knot because I wanted to make another one. So I had to kind of search for it. And then once I got that and I did a double knot, then I just start spreading it out, fluff it up. And then I also ducktail the ends right here, which you can totally do before you lay it down, like once you cut them. So, yep. So here it is. I glued it onto my heart and I added just, 3 little picks of some flowers from the Dollar Tree and wrapped some ribbon on the bottom and glued that next to it. And this is what it looks like. I love how this one turned out too. So let's move on to project number 3. Got a wood round from the Dollar Tree and I already made a line, probably like 2/4 of the way up. I'm going to paint the bottom part with the plaster. And I did end up using some painter's tape so I can get a nice crisp line because otherwise it would be very crooked if I had to eyeball this part. So yeah, the painter's tape is a good thing to have on hand. Then the top part, I'm going to go in with Waverly's chalk paint and celery. And that's for the top. And then I'll go in with some Mod Podge and I'm just going to add that to the bottom part where we painted with Waverly's chalk paint and plaster. I'm going to go ahead and give that a nice coat. And we're going to add some fabric to that area once we're done with the Mod Podge. And that's the fabric we're going to use. And we're going to lay that down on the Mod Podge. I wanted a little bit of the butterflies, the roses and the flowers. So I picked an area that I liked and that was going to show a little of everything. And then I just kind of smooth it out. And if it's a little bit of Mod Podge that I dried, I just added a little bit more and laid it down. And we're going to give it a coat of Mod Podge on top as well, just to help seal it in. So here we're going to cut off the excess. I'm just using some scissors to go around and then also across. And here we're going to go ahead and seal it in. We give it a nice, good, healthy coat. Make sure you get all the way around the edges too, so there'll be no gapping. And then I got this beautiful ribbon from, that's not a Dollar Tree brand, is it? There may be a Walmart one. I probably found it on clearance at Walmart. And it has like some ribbon, some trim kind of weaving in and out of the ribbon. And that was kind of crooked, so I was fixing it. And here I'm going to make sure everything is lined up right. And that's also when I decide the ivory color on my letters right there did not go well with anything that I had going on here. So, yep, we changed that to I think it was vintage tea rose that I used. And here we're going to go ahead and glue our ribbon down. And I'm not using a ton of hot glue here. I'm just going to do like a little line across here and then lay it down. I don't want it all to be flat against it. So, I want it to look kind of real and not too flat. And here I go back in with my letters, spell out the word hello, and I'm lining it up and making sure it's straight before I glue them down. And I'm just using some hot glue to the back of them and then laying it right back down where I got them. And here I'm just going to go with a little bit of hot glue to kind of um, melt the hot glue string so it kind of stuck in between the lines of the E. Then I have these pretty roses and I want to use them. I'm trying to figure out, where to put them. So I'm just kind of playing around with it here. I thought that went really well with the flowers on the fabric. And I figured maybe a little bit of leaves would help out. Then I end up putting it at the top. I liked it at the top better. So you just kind of have to play around with it, till your heart is happy. Then I had some more of these flowers, and I'm gonna use that. Color-wise, I thought that went really well, so I'm gonna add some to each side of the ribbon. I thought it gave it a little extra 3D look to it. Then I was like, I wanted to add some more roses to the top and some more greenery, and I really like how that turned out. And I left the bottom alone. I think it had too much enough going on at the top, but also it had a lot going on in the fabric, so I didn't want to add any more to it. But I love how this one turned out. I think it is so pretty. So, yep, that's it. There it is. Let me know what you think about this one. I am definitely in love with this one, for sure. So let's go move on to the next project, number 4, and that's going to be the last one today. I got another one of these butterfly frames from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to remove the packaging from it, and we're also going to remove the backing and the glass from it as well, because we're going to work on the frame first. It's just got these little tabs you're going to push to the side, and then it pops right out. And then I want to make sure that I push them back in so I don't paint on them, because right now you can kind of see that sticking out. And yeah, I just realized that. So now I'm going to push them back inward so that way they're not getting painted. And then I'm going to pick 3 different color pink. So this is ballet pink, and this is cameo pink, and then we have eminent rose. So 2 different shades of pink, and we're going to just randomly paint some of these, not some of them, but all the butterflies. But mix it up. So it's kind of like clustered colored, and I like that. So you have to make sure you get to the edges because they're a little bit on the thick side. So make sure you do the sides, the tops, wherever the areas that belongs to that butterfly is. So it's not really a good angle right here, but you can kind of see the thickness right there. So you want to make sure you paint that. And then also here at the bottom of the butterfly. I keep moving my frame in all kinds of directions just to make sure I get all the areas right here. And I have to do that with all of them when each butterfly that I'm working on. But I loved how it turned out at the end. So it's worth it. It's a little bit time consuming, but it's all good. I love how it turned out. Then we go in with the eminent rose. So it's a little bit of a darker pink. But I think all 3 of them kind of complement each other really well. So here we go in with the ballet pink. I think I'm going to show, yeah, you see? I don't know if that was enough time, but you can kind of see the three different colors. They look so nice together. I got a little bit on the frame here, but a little bit of spritz of water, then a paper towel, I got that wiped off. And here I'm going in with the Eminent Rose, and I'm just going to dry brush the little bumpy area around the frame, and but not the frame itself. And here I'm going to go in with this beautiful fabric from the Dollar Tree. I love this fabric so much. And we're going to trace out the glass part of the frame because I think that was the easiest way to kind of trace around it. That wasn't going to move. That was going to, it has a little bit of a raised area to it, so it'll be easier to trace. So once we got that traced out, then we're going to go ahead and cut it all the way around. And then we're going to lay it down on the backing of the frame. It has a little bit of a crease right there. I was trying to see if I could smooth it out, but I'll get that smoothed out once we start using the Mod Podge. And I'm just going to use that on the backing. Just give it a nice coat. And I'm trying just to do it on the area where the fabric is going to lay down. And once I've done that, we're going to grab the fabric. And then luckily, the Mod Podge doesn't dry right away, so you have a little bit of time to kind of move it if you don't get it down straight, which of course I didn't. So I got to pull it up some and then rearrange it. And on this one, I am not going to give it a coat of Mod Podge on top because I didn't want it to be kind of stiff and sealed in. This is a smaller piece of fabric, so I wasn't worried about it at all. Like on the previous project, it was a bigger piece of fabric. So I'm not going to add anything to the top. It was down um, tight, so it wasn't going to go anywhere. And then I got these Scrabble tiles, and I'm going to spell out the word bloom. I'm trying to figure out where to put them and then put the frame on top just so I can see, where it would fit within the frame part. But then I decided just to flip it all the way around, of course. So I'm just going to lay it out, and I wanted there to be a little tiny bit of gap in between the letters. And then once I'm happy with the way it looks, I'm going to go ahead and use some hot glue, and I'm going to hot glue each letter down. And I'm just using a little dot of hot glue to the back. You don't need a whole lot. And once I've done that, I'm going to get the frame, and we're going to put it all together. And that's really all there is for this one. It was so easy and so simple, but I love how it turned out. There we go. Let me know what you think about this one as well. I love these frames from the Dollar Tree. They're so refreshing for the spring and summer, I think. Let's take a final look at everything that we made today. Here are little fancy shabby chic birdhouses. I think they're so cool. Then we got a little heart with the flowers. And I really like how my messy bow came out. It doesn't even look all that messy. And I like the crackling on this one as well. And a very bright frame here with this gorgeous fabric. If you see it at the Dollar Tree, grab it. Because I've been back and I haven't seen it since that one time when I bought 2 little rolls of it. So if you see it, grab it. And then we got this one. I am in love with this one. I think it's gorgeous. So yeah, let me know what you think about all of them. Did you enjoy them? Let me know. Which one is your favorite? If you made it all the way at the end to to the end of the video with me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe, like, and comment my video. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.